You can put the other spark plugs back in now and make it sound a bit better.
This time in the V8 swap, hopefully we can get the car started, but we'll see. There's still a few things to do before that can happen. Written a little list here of things to do. So number one, got some comments from last time about the fuel lines being too close to the tail shaft. I did, however, think that as well. If the tail shaft ever pops out, it's going to do big damage, fuel's going to go everywhere, it's going to be a bad time, so we'll move them away. So thank you for the comments on that. I'm going to fill all the fluids up, of course, oil, clutch, maybe the radiator as well. I've got to check all my earths and positives. There's a few of those that need to be done up. Need to finish the fuel pump wiring to the surge tank as well as the fuel tank, and then test it all works. So I've got a battery now, so I can plug that in and just check that the fuel pump's priming. Obviously need to fill it with fuel, and then we need to fill up the surge tank as well before we turn the key, so it's got something to suck with through the pump. I need to plug in my OBD2 sensor and tablet, which is going to give me all my diagnostic readings and temperatures and stuff like that. Make sure everything's running as it should be, and also set the fuel pressure as well with the regulator. So once I've done all that, hopefully turn the key. So I've rerouted the fuel lines away from the tail shaft as far as I could. So it's a lot better now. Goes a little bit close to the exhaust and then tucks under and then goes up next to the gearbox up to the rails. So yeah, it should be a fair bit more safer. So we got fuel tank in, as you know, hooked up all the fuel pump wiring and just tried to prime the in-tank pump, the lifter pump, and it sounds like it's not picking up any petrol at all. So what we suspect is that the filter sock is actually too close and just suctioning straight on and not letting any fluid through. So we put 20 litres of fuel in the car, but yeah, it's not pumping. So we'll drain the fuel tank out, have a look. Lucky that this just has enough room to come out. I hope, almost there. Come on. Gross. There we go. So now we've got to see if this is clogged or not. So I think my problem was I cable tied this on, but whoops, to keep the cup on because it wasn't quite the right size sock, and it's just stopping any fuel from getting in there at all. Cool, so to fix my filter sock issue with this not really fitting on there properly, found this thing which is part of the battery terminal thing that I got. Anyway, that would be a nice little pickup that should sit in there and pop it through a little bit. This sits perfectly on over the top of that, and in turn the internal diameter of that sits nicely on top of my fuel pump. So we'll see if that all works together. Attempts of getting the fuel pump assembly to work and to not leak, we've finally got it in and the fuel pump does prime. We probably had the fuel pump assembly and supporting circle plate out about 5 times fixing different things. Each time you have to drain about 20 litres of fuel as well, so that wasn't too much fun. So leaks here, leaks there, filled it with some putty, filled it with some rapid fix. Then we thought there was a problem with the fuel pump, or the line was blocked, and we thought the filter sock had become clogged or something as well because it just wasn't sucking. We weren't getting any fuel priming, but yeah, so another fuel pump later and she is priming. So the next step is to fill up the surge tank, and once we've got that, then we can turn on the big pump and feed the lines into the rest of the fuel rail. And then we can set the pressure, and once the pressure's set, we can start the car. So filling up the surge tank so that we can then turn on the Bosch 44 primary fuel pump, I suppose. Primary, secondary, I don't know which one is, but this will be the main one anyway. So the surge tank should be full now, and fuel should be returning back into the tank. Then we can turn it on and feed the rails up the front of the car. See how many leaks we have. So you can see a small leak, just the bottom right of the gauge there. So far, I think that's the only leak that I can see. This is all pretty good. Cool, and there's no joins in this line all the way back to the surge tank, so yeah, fix up those two, should be sweet. With the fuel lines at pressure, it was time to crank over the LS1 for the first time. Alright, see if it fires up. First fuel pump, second fuel pump, and start. With no startup joy, we started troubleshooting the ignition, checking for spark. So I checked through the torque app and tried cranking the engine over and looking at the rev counter, and there wasn't any revs, which means the crank angle sensor isn't working, so the ECU isn't getting told that the engine's cranking over, and therefore it doesn't send any pulses to the injectors or the coil packs. That's what I found online. But yeah, that's the reason why the car's not starting up. So I'll get that plug, which is the last plug we were missing up the top. Didn't know where it went. So we'll plug that in and hopefully away we go. Okay, I got the crank angle sensor plugged in, which was right near the headers, really hard to get to. Only had like 2 fingers, but it's on now. This will start up 100%. Nice. Woo! How good is that? Highly.
Got it going, man.
Only, what, 7 months, 8, or maybe 9 months later, almost. Ew!
Wow. You can put the other spark plugs back in now and make it sound a bit better.
Shit. Yeah, let's do that.
Might sound a bit better as an 8-cylinder.
Yeah, should probably put the other spark plugs in. Here we go. Starting up as an 8-cylinder. The gauge is working as well. Beautiful. How good is that, Dad?
Oh. Bit smoky in the cabin.
Pretty stoked on the car. Got it started finally. Lots of months of hard work. Finally paid off, and the troubleshooting issues that we've had, lots of them I didn't even film with all the fuel leaks, and trying to fix all those up. All works good. So now it's on to move on to all the other little things. We have to do like the radiator, finish the brakes, tidy up some wiring, and yeah, put a few bits and pieces together. Hopefully we can make it for our race day deadline in a couple of weeks. But yeah, stoked. Did you miss the last video? Check it out here. Or, we're getting towards the pointy end, so keep up to date with all the latest video releases by subscribing, by clicking here, or even underneath the screen. Did I do something right? Or something wrong? Is there better parts I should have used? Or do you know another way of doing it? Let us know in the comments down below. We're almost at the pointy end and should be able to get the car going soon. Can't wait.